Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome to the show. I'm Jose Cruz, and you're listening to Literacy for All on WS Radio. We're so glad to have on this show Georgeanne Irvine. She is the Director of Corporate Publishing for San Diego Zoo Global Press, San Diego Zoo Global, which I'm local, so I know San Diego Zoo, so San Diego Zoo Global. Welcome to the show, Georgeanne.
Thank you. Good morning, Jose. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad to have you on the show. It's a real honor, and there's things that are happening at the zoo that we want our audience to hear about. And first of all, I wanted to know a little bit more about you because you've been with the San Diego Zoo for a long time and wearing various hats. So let's start with that.
I recently celebrated my 40-year anniversary at the zoo, which is amazing to me. I so vividly remember my first day of work. I started as a PR assistant, and it was March 22nd, 1978, and it was just a dream job for me. But if you'd asked me at that point, do you think you'll be at the zoo for 40-plus years, I don't think I ever would have guessed that, but I love my job. I've worn different hats here. And let me tell you why I remember that first day in particular.
Okay, I'm curious. Yeah, what was the zoo like back in 40 years ago?
Oh my gosh, it was very, very different than it is now. We've just rebuilt the zoo in many areas and have much nicer exhibits. But that particular day, besides being my first day of work, a VIP was there, Henry Winkler, the fawn.
Oh, sure. I met him, yeah.
And who at the time was really huge. I mean, Happy Days was one of the most popular shows. And I so remember him walking down the hall of our offices, and I thought, oh, my God, there's like a TV star here. This is really exciting. Yeah. And then we showed him a baby spider monkey up close and some other animals. And my boss later told me, when VIPs come, you're going to be doing that as well. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is like the most exciting day of my life. So it's weird. It's like ingrained in my memory. But I was in public relations and marketing for 22 years. And then I was recruited into the fundraising department to do communications there to create the materials that we needed to raise millions of dollars per year. And about 2 years ago, I was asked to start a publishing division for San Diego Zoo Global, a book publishing division.
And you have a history, not so much in book publishing, maybe you do, but you have a history in writing books?
Yes, I have a history in writing books, and I think that's why the CEO asked me to take over this. But my boss is my business partner. She's the guru on all the business aspects of our publishing. But at this point, I've written about 24 children's books, and I also wrote a coffee table book for adults on the Katrina dolphins that were washed out to sea during Katrina. But I've had different publishers in the past. They've all been animal stories, and I specialize in nonfiction animal stories. And I've been published by Simon & Schuster and Ideals and Scholastic.
And was this separate from the zoo?
Yes, I freelanced those books. Okay. But they were usually San Diego Zoo stories. And today we've grown a little bit, and now we have a licensing division. But in those days, I was able to freelance the writing, and the zoo supplied the photos. And animal stories have always been a passion to me. We have so many stories at the San Diego Zoo and Safari Park. And I love sharing those stories, particularly with kids. And it's interesting how I got started writing. One of my jobs when I came into the PR department was writing for Koala Club News, which was our children's publication. Okay. And I confided in my boss that someday I would really like to write children's books because my grandmother did. Well, Ideals Publishing came to the zoo, and they said, we would like a series of 6 children's books using your photos. Do you have a suggestion on someone who might be able to write them? So she suggested me. But then it's like, oh my gosh, now what do I do? I've never written a book in my life, and now I have 6 to write.
Right.
But I got them done. I remember my first manuscript was about a koala, and I remember calling up my editor there was no fax then, there was no email, and reading this very short manuscript to her, and when she said, "That's it, that's what I want," it gave me the confidence to get the others done.
Now, when was that? What year was that? Do you recollect?
Yes, the books were in the early 1980s. I think it was 1982 and 1983 that I wrote 12 books for Ideals Publishing.
Now, were these with photos and such, actual photos of animals? Or
Yes.
Okay.
These particular books were illustrated with photos. The story was not nonfiction, though, so I had to come up with a story that kind of matched the photos that were already taken.
Right.
And in some of the cases, we didn't have the baby animals at the moment, so I kind of had to figure it out. It was like putting a puzzle together, figuring out the stories with the pictures. And these were for first graders. So they're really, the manuscript was 500 words long max, so that they were not long manuscripts.
Yeah, that's even sounds like a lot, actually, for that age group, but 500 words. And I want to ask you, because this is a literacy show, and it tends to be literary, too, so here's where we connect. Having the animal stories as subject matter, the impact, the effect that you saw on the audiences, children and families, what did you see in terms of this being an area of interest that encouraged them to read?
There's a book, and I will tell you all about the new books in a moment, but there was a book I wrote that came out in 1985, and it was the true story of Corky the blind seal. And it was about a harbor seal animal ambassador who did behaviors, but then he got cataracts and became blind. And so we retrained him so that he could still do the behaviors. And I'll give you an example. We used to throw a ball in the water and say, "Corky, fetch the ball." So when he became blind, the way we retrained him is we threw the ball into the water. The trainers did, so that it hit. We'd already have Corky in the water.
Right.
And then we'd throw the ball in the water so it hit really hard. So with his whiskers, he could feel the waves coming at him. And then the trainer would use audio cues. She'd say, "Corky, out of the pool with the ball," and she would tap her foot on the stage, and he could hear the tapping and the vibrations, and he would come right out and go straight to the trainer. That book sold 400,000 copies.
Oh, my goodness.
My best-selling book ever, at $1.25 a copy.
Right.
But I continue to, even today, and that book has been out of print, I've gotten letters from classrooms, from kids asking me how Corky is. I've had people tell me that it inspired them to work with animals, even one of our current zoo employees. So they do have a big impact on kids, because I think kids can really relate to animals.
Yeah, you bet. I have to tell you, because growing up in San Diego, the zoo was free.
Yes.
We went often. I am sure, because I remember the name. I hadn't heard that there was a book about Corky, but I am pretty sure I saw Corky a number of times. Would that be accurate, just putting on those seal shows?
Yes, it would be very accurate, depending on how old you are.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to ask, but Corky was in our animal chit-chat show in Wegeforth Bowl from about 1978 until the early 90s. So you very well... Now, he's a harbor seal, which is very different from a sea lion.
Okay.
But I'm guessing that you probably did see Corky. He was one of our most popular animals.
I remember the name. I remember. Now, our audience, I'm going to speak for them, will probably want to know, is there surgery, cataract surgery for seals?
Yes, there is cataract surgery for seals, but we decided not to do it because they've got delicate respiratory systems, and you're always taking a chance when you do surgery on that. And our sea lion trainer at the time, who was very experienced with sea lions, told the other trainers that it would probably be better to retrain Corky using audio sounds than to do the surgery at the time.
Okay, very good. Let me see. I want to know, because you're the right person for what you're doing. Have you always had an interest in animals? How did you end up at the zoo as a PR aide? Was that something you kind of planned, or something that happened subconsciously? Well,
I was born in San Diego, near the zoo, not at the zoo. And my mother would bring me to the zoo all the time.
I love it.
She would take me to the zoo all the time. And we lived on a canyon in Del Cerro in the early days. And so there were always animals and snakes. And I was fascinated with animals. When I went to college, I studied journalism. Now, my dream would have been to be on stage on Broadway. But the problem is I couldn't sing and I couldn't dance. So I decided to write instead. And I'd always loved writing. When I was a senior at San Diego State, majoring in journalism, I wanted to do an internship at the zoo, but they didn't offer them. So I did one at Convention and Visitors Bureau. 2 weeks after I graduated, a PR assistant job came up at the zoo that required a year's experience. And by now I knew I want an exciting, fun, interesting job with purpose. I applied for the job, made it to the top 2, and didn't get it. And I remember how upset I was, but my mom said, honey, you never know. Maybe it'll open up again. And that's exactly what happened. 6 months later, they said, the job is open again. Do you want it? And I've never looked back.
Very good. Good for you. Good for us. We're going to go to break in just about 45 seconds here. I want to hear more about the books that you've written.
Okay.
The true stories behind the true story books. These are nonfiction. So
yes,
they're true animal stories.
They are.
And just how people can get books and such, and just what this means to animal life. And I know that the zoo is committed to extinction. We're really concerned about what's happening with the animals. And getting that message out too. So we'll be back after break and with Georgeanne Irvine. She is the director of corporate publishing for the San Diego Zoo Global Press, a new thing they just kicked off. We're going to talk more about that in our next segment. I'm Jose Cruz. This is Literacy for All. You're on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
Are you a small business or nonprofit? Securing Our eCity Foundation offers free cybersecurity seminars so businesses of every size can become more cyber safe. According to Forbes, just one cybercrime incident can cost a company over $15 million. Protect yourself, your employees, and your business before you fall victim to the nation's fastest growing crime. Go right now to securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444.
Looking to be a successful entrepreneur? The virtual assistant industry continues to be a top choice for those looking to start their own business. The problem can be how to become a virtual assistant. Many turn to the Bible of the VA industry, the book Virtual Assistant, the series, and it's the perfect guide for office managers, executive assistants, and other administrative professionals looking to make the transition from employee to successful business owner. Go to vatheseries.com to get your copy today.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Homeless veterans and their families are suffering and need our support, but many won't ask or don't know that help is within reach. Veterans Community Services is here to help. Amazingly, about 35% of the homeless in our neighborhoods are veterans with families. Low-income veterans or their friends are encouraged to contact Veterans Community Services and reach out for help with housing and other services. Call now, 800-974-9909.
Securing Our eCity Foundation is a nonprofit organization focused on cybersecurity awareness and education. Formed in 2011, their mission is to enable every San Diegan to live, work, and play safely in the cyber world. For more information, visit securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444. securingourecity.org, 619-630-2444. securingourecity.org.
Donate cash, furniture, clothes, and other gently used household items to Father Joe's Villages and get a nice tax break in April. Every donation is tax deductible. Believe you can make a difference. Be Father Joe. Go to neighborhood.org or call 1-800-HOMELESS to donate today.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.